We are Essex,
a team without borders.
Pioneers of change,
rebels with a cause.
but most importantly, we are a family.
Hello everyone, my name is Azri.
Adiola,
Nife.
Abiola.
Together we represent
Enactus
Essex.
At Enactus Essex, we are resilient leaders passionate about tackling the world's most challenging problems.
From learning disabilities to social isolation,
Loneliness to gender-based poverty.
we have had a busy year running projects across 3 different continents.
But first, let's introduce you to a project that is close to home and close to our hearts.
Caring for Colchester.
In 2018, Caring for Colchester was created to improve the well-being and cognitive functions of elderly people living with dementia.
Last year, we ran weekly planting sessions, activities and games to improve their mood.
In the planting sessions, we upcycle used coffee cups into plant pots.
These were then sold to students as a way to address the recycling problem on campus.
Although a success in the beginning, we eventually discovered that our model was flawed.
Firstly, we were unable to track where the upcycled coffee cups ended up after they had been sold with the plants.
This meant that after the plants died, the cups could once again be disposed of in the wrong bin, making this a short-term solution.
We also struggled with low volunteer engagement, especially over the holiday breaks, which negatively affected our relationship with the elderly people.
Finally, from our time visiting other care homes, we learned that activities such as painting and playing games had a more positive effect on the elderly people compared to planting.
We met with Pam, an elderly woman living in a care home who spoke of how drawing landscapes reminds her of painting with her father during her childhood in South Africa.
Ellie, another elderly lady, said that although not a great artist, she particularly liked reading and writing.
Our time with them helped us when we made the necessary changes to our project direction and solution.
So, what did we do differently this year?
1. We eliminated the recycling aspect of the project as our university addresses this issue more effectively through its recently introduced green program.
2. We outsourced our volunteering by partnering with our Students' Union volunteering team. This allowed us to focus on the core activity of developing the project further.
And 3. From our research, the elderly people's positive response to the games, painting and music was because it wasn't routine or predictable.
This formed the new project solution, Art Therapy.
Art therapy utilizes the process of creating art to improve mental, physical, and emotional wellness.
According to Age UK, over 2 million senior citizens experience loneliness. This affects their ability to not just communicate verbally, but also to express themselves.
Art therapy addresses this by stimulating the brain, thus allowing room for creativity and self-expression.
But what exactly is the difference between art class and art therapy, you might ask?
Art classes focus on teaching art techniques, while art therapy focuses on self-expression and imagination, thereby helping people find new ways to gain personal insight and develop new coping skills.
During the project development, we remained in constant communication with our project partner, Colonial Court, to ensure that our project solution creates value for the elderly people.
Also, rather than focusing specifically on dementia, we will focus on improving the quality of life of all elderly people in Colonial Court.
This is because our new solution focuses on improving emotional and behavioral wellness, which isn't dementia specific.
We will use a life story questionnaire certified by the Crisis Prevention Institute to collate information on the elderly people's needs and create person-centered programs for them.
With our weekly sessions, we aim to achieve the following outcomes.
Increase confidence and emotional wellness.
Engagement in meaningful activities.
Self-expression and self-awareness.
This will be measured by feedback forms and mood charts. Care assistants will help to record the frequency of positive emotions, such as feeling peaceful and the absence of excessive boredom.
When COVID-19 subsides, we will pilot the new idea and we anticipate significant improvements in the emotional and behavioral well-being of the elderly people.
And going forward, we'll further the project by partnering with the National Citizen Service to provide a volunteer base that mobilizes the project during holiday breaks.
After proving that our model works, we intend on implementing it in other care homes across Colchester in partnership with youth volunteer groups.
Now, let's take you 5,000 miles away to Zimbabwe, a country, although beautiful in appearance, has been plagued with decades of economic instability.
This has disproportionately affected the poorest in society, where the quality of education has significantly dropped.
Many teachers lack the skills and experience to deal with students, especially those who encounter certain learning obstacles like dyslexia.
It is estimated that about 10 to 20% of pupils in Zimbabwe suffer from learning difficulties, including dyslexia.
Learning disabilities are nothing to be ashamed of, but stigma and bias shame us all.
In fact, many people in Zimbabwe misinterpret the dyslexia disorder as stupidity or laziness.
These children have been treated as lesser than their peers.
My child is stupid, it cannot be helped.
He is lazy, careless, and incompetent. He will be a failure all his life.
These are the words that some children living with dyslexia in Zimbabwe hear on a daily basis from their parents and their teachers.
Derogatory statements such as this often lead to low confidence, low self-esteem, and poor academic performance in dyslexic children.
We decided to create a change, hence we made Sunny Mind.
From our research, we discovered that the resources created in the West cannot be directly implemented in developing countries like Zimbabwe due to the socio-economic differences.
SonyMind adapts these solutions to the African context and sheds light on how dyslexia can be identified and remedied.
The SonyMind project leader, Calvin, shares more insight into this.
Growing up in an open society like the UK, I was privileged to have access to many educational resources. The same cannot be said for my home country, Zimbabwe. In December, I traveled to Harare, Zimbabwe to conduct a needs assessment. I met with Ms. Katananga, an experienced teacher who knew all too well about the problems related to Zimbabwe's broken education system. From the visit and further research, we identified three main problems.
1. Teachers are not equipped enough to cater to specific learning needs and are therefore unaware of the disability and unable to identify and manage it effectively.
2. On average, there are 45 children in a class per teacher, whereas dyslexia intervention recommends one-to-one teacher support.
3. There is a lack of resources available to offer specialized educational support to young people living with dyslexia.
As a result of this, we learned that in the context of Zimbabwe, dyslexia is more so a teaching problem than a learning one.
Thankfully, research shows that with adequate teacher training in early identification and intervention, 90% of children with dyslexia can then be educated in the regular inclusive classroom.
However, many skilled teachers have moved away from teaching due to the recent cuts in government funding. This has led to a rise in teachers who lack the skills to deal with young people with learning disabilities.
So, how did we set out to reduce the skills gap?
In November, we contacted Dyslexia in Africa Trust, a non-profit based in Harare, Zimbabwe, seeking to eradicate the negative socio-economic effects of dyslexia.
We sought to create an online teacher training course and a website to raise awareness on learning disabilities across Zimbabwe.
However, we soon learned that implementing this solution would be more challenging than anticipated.
We learned that the poor internet infrastructure in the country would inhibit the creation of the website and the ability for teachers across Zimbabwe to easily access the online training course.
So, we decided to create a paper-based and reproducible teacher training course that can be easily accessed by teachers in urban and rural communities. The course will consist of 6 topics:
Learning disability,
Child psychology,
Career development,
mental well-being,
child motivation,
and teacher personal development.
To ensure the course will be effective in Zimbabwe, we took the following steps.
First, we worked with the director of the National Institute of Learning Development in Zimbabwe, a professional in the field of child psychology.
Second, we formulated the course with therapists and psychology professors at the university.
We also contacted Toe by Toe, an organization that provided us with relevant information and reviewed the course draft.
To assess the effectiveness of the course, we'll trial this with 2 unemployed teachers in Harare, Zimbabwe.
We have secured a classroom space costing $50 a month for them to teach 14 children with dyslexia.
We'll provide the course on a weekly basis, ensuring constant communication and continuous feedback between the teachers and the SonyMind team.
In addition, the teachers will be provided with compensation to cover any logistic costs incurred.
To cover these costs, a sponsorship program will be implemented where university students can donate £3 a month, whilst also receiving an informative newsletter on mental health and access to personal development sessions, all run by students.
We will pilot the project when the impact of COVID-19 is curbed. Once the pilot is complete and successful, we hope to expand the scope of the course to other schools and teacher training colleges across Zimbabwe. to implement the program into their curriculum.
With this project, we intend to achieve the following outcomes.
1. Increase children's accessibility to dyslexia-related support.
2. Improve the engagement of children with dyslexia in academic activities, thereby improving their grades.
3. See a rise in the academic aspirations of children.
4. Make teachers more employable by providing them with the ability and confidence to effectively teach a wider range of students.
To measure the outcomes of the project, we will look at 2 main beneficiary groups. The teachers, which are our direct beneficiaries, and our indirect beneficiaries, the pupils living with dyslexia.
Once the course trial is completed, we will compare students' grades from before and after the course and assess the changes in results.
If we see an upturn in student grade results, we will thereby determine the course to have been successful.
For the teachers, we will conduct weekly tests to monitor the progress of their learning and also to ensure that they understand the course.
In addition, teachers will fill monthly feedback forms in which they can highlight the benefits they have gained from the course.
After completion of the course, if they manage to secure paid work, we will consider this an empowerment.
We believe this project is just the start to tackling Zimbabwe's challenge of mental health awareness.
At Enactus Essex, our fundamental values are excellence, resilience, and servant leadership.
In these values, we find strength and motivation to change the lives of our beneficiaries for good.
This year, we hit 7 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Providing decent work for women earning below the national minimum wage in Nigeria.
Providing quality education for children living with dyslexia in Zimbabwe.
Improving the emotional and behavioral well-being of elderly people in Colchester.
Working to reduce social isolation in Japan.
And lastly, partnering with 5 organizations to create a positive impact on people, planet, and prosperity across all our projects.
We pride ourselves on building genuine relationships with our beneficiaries, ensuring positive sustainable change to their lives, the community, and the environment.
And step by step, we hope to change the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are Enactus.